It's a great honor. It's one that we'll always cherish. 87 years in the making. She played tennis and basketball here at Delta State in 1930 and 31. So,
what are some of the things that maybe she told you while you were growing up that she remembered that was a fun memory or something that she really enjoyed about being a student athlete?
well, one thing she told me, she said, I thought I was a good basketball player when I was in high school, but when I got up here at Delta State, Margaret Wade and those Hill ladies really showed me I was not nearly as good as I thought I was.
Which sport was she better at, tennis or basketball?
I would say tennis probably. She and her partner won Delta State's first national championship in 1931 spring.
How much did you play tennis or basketball with her while you were growing up?
Well, I was telling my daughter Dave coming up that I remember my mother and I playing on the grass courts at Ruthland, which is an antebellum home in Natchez. It was my mother's home growing up, and part of mine too. But I can remember us volleying back and forth, and she would chase me all over the court, and tell me to stay with it, son, stay with it.
As you were growing up, how much did you come visit Delta State when you were younger before you actually came to be a student yourself?
Actually, the first time I came to Delta State was in the spring of 1953. My head football coach was Henry Lee Parker, and he asked me had I considered where I was going to college. And I said, well, I'd had offers from Colin and southeastern Louisiana and southwestern Louisiana. And he said, well, I know the coach at Delta State. Let me get an interview with him, and we'll go up one Saturday. I said, fine, coach. And sure enough, he did. And he said, we'll spend the night in Shaw with my mother-in-law. So we get to Shaw, and he introduced me to his mother-in-law. Her name was Mrs. Ferris. And by the way, my mother was also born in Shaw. And Miss Ferris fixed us a nice supper, and we got ready to go to bed. And she said, Henry Lee, talking to my coach, said, you sleep on the couch, and we'll let your student athlete sleep in Boo's bed. And I said, Ferris, Boo Ferris, I'm sleeping in Boo Ferris's bed. It was quite a memory.
How much did your mom want you to go to Delta State as well, since she was there?
That's interesting too. She never encouraged me one way or the other. She never even told me she went to Delta State until actually I went up here. And she said, I went to Delta State and played a little basketball, played a little tennis. She never told me she won a national championship or a state championship or anything like that. And we have a lot of kinfolk up here, a lot of Clark relatives, Green relatives, all over the Delta, and Glasgow's here in Cleveland. So it was almost a natural fit for me to come to Delta State, and for her also.
As a player here yourself, played athletics, just talk about the legacy of Delta State, just from your mom's success to success of the women's basketball and baseball and the football team, just as a whole. How proud are you, I guess, to be a part of Delta State?
Well, when you look at all the national championships that we have won, baseball, basketball, girls basketball, and gosh, they were so much fun to watch. In the 3 consecutive years they won national championships. We won national championships in football and, of course, doubles tennis. My mom. but it's a great, I don't think any other school, especially in Mississippi, can even say they've won a national championship. But look at all the ones that Delta State's won. It's just remarkable, not just for Division schools, two school, but for any type of school in the country.
You mentioned you didn't know your mom came to Delta State until essentially you started coming here. How well was she known as a Delta State athlete when you came?
They didn't know her at all. Actually, like I said, my mom never even told me she played anything up here until after I got up here.
I guess just finally, just for your mom, you said it was 87 years in the making. Just kind of talk about the honor for her to be finally recognized and put into the Hall of Fame.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Just kind of sum it up. Just you mentioned earlier, it's 87 years waiting for it. Just finally get that honor of being into the Hall of Fame. Just kind of talk about that.
Well, you know, having your mom inducted into a Hall of Fame sports in any school is an honor. It's something, like I said earlier, that your family will cherish forever. I'm just so thankful for Coach Myers and the selection committee for making the selection for my mom. And I'll always appreciate Coach Myers and the selection committee for this.
Okay, we are good.